Hey Samantha, welcome in. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you, Clayton?
Doing great. All right, so we'll just jump right in. So, tell us about yourself, about your business, and we'll go from there.
Okay, sounds great. Let me know if you have any specific questions. I will first off say that I am very grateful that you asked me to be a part of your podcast. I love doing podcasts, and you're the first one of 2026.
Nice.
And I believe your podcast is fairly new. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. Pretty new.
amazing. Cool, cool. I'm excited to learn more about it as well. So, for everybody who's meeting me for the first time, I'm Samantha Amaya. I live in Virginia, and I've got four kiddos. My oldest is turning 15. We're right at birthdays for all of them. So, they're all turning 15, 11, 9, and 7 over the next month or two. So, we've got a lot going on. Yeah. And, I don't know what specifically do you want to know, like about my business, how I got started, that kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. Go ahead and just tell us what is your business?
Okay, my business is I call it Create Your Life, and it's spelled with a K, so Kreate, and then URLIFE, Create Your Life, and I came up with the name of my business probably about 5 or 6 years ago. And the reason why it's spelled different than you would typically hear it is because I was at a point in my life where I was, a young mom. My fourth was, just maybe a couple years old. And especially in the coaching and business industry, there's a lot of people telling you, you have to do this, you have to do this. And it was really, really popular around then where it was like, find the right cat and copy it.
Mm.
And a lot of people, I feel like, were trying to find their voice, and instead they tried to be everybody else. And that didn't resonate with me. And so I wanted to create something that said to people, this is you, this is your life, you get to live how you want, and you don't have to be somebody else. And so when I was praying about it, I just heard, I want to create something. And then I heard, this is your life. And I was like, oh, create your life. And I've been building my brand identity around that ever since. And I've had different iterations of what my business did and how it served people. And right now, I focus on something that I've coined called 3 a day the simple way. And
Okay.
it's this philosophy that if you can just do three very simple, basic things every single day, everything else will follow suit. Whether you're at like the peak of your game and you're on fire, or you're having one of those times where it's like, this is a season that sucks and everything's really, really hard and I don't know my direction. So if we can just spend time, so if your listeners are spiritual, that's my basis for my business. You got to spend time with God, whether that's journaling, meditation, scripture, whatever it is, at least 5 minutes a day. If you can stay hydrated, and if you can track your nutrition, not necessarily like on an app, but if you know that you're eating healthy and fueling your body so that you feel good, then everything else will come together. But if you're not taking care of yourself spiritually, if you're dehydrated and your nutrition is terrible, it's going to be hard to do anything else. Your sleep will be lacking, your relationships are going to suffer, you're not going to be motivated to run your business because you just don't have it within you to show up for anything else. So 3 a day the simple way, let's keep it incredibly basic. And I ran a beta for it last year with only those things. I cut out everything else that I was doing in fitness and nutrition and only focused on a group of people showing up for that. And I still see people commenting, and I did that in September. I still see people commenting now this year we're only like halfway through February, just like, I'm focusing on my nutrition. I drank some water today. That 3 a day that Samantha had going on was really impactful. And so that lets me know that those things, those fundamentals, are really, really powerful. And so that's kind of how it started, was just me seeking a way that I could show up, one, for myself, and two, that I could help other people, love God, love people. That's the foundation of everything, the two great commandments.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's like a really simplified version of what I do and what my business is.
I love it. I think simple works for people too because like, if it stops being simple, it starts being overwhelming, right? So you have to,
Yeah.
if you like to do 20 things all the time, you can't do 20 things all the time, but you can do three simple things. And if they're like foundational, then obviously it makes this huge difference. So I like that. I like that a lot. And so for your business, who do you focus on helping the most? Like, do you mostly help, like, I guess, or is it most like a personal development, like kind of like a well-being type of business? Do you work a lot with coaches? Like, tell us more about that.
I feel like I'm still finding exactly who that person is. You know, like they say, niche down and be super specific. Every time I try, there's a whole group of people that come to me and I have to like turn them away. And I would love to serve them. And so I've gone through a lot of like only serving parents, only serving moms. Do I want to include dads? Are they only people who own a business? And at what level of business do they run? And it made me feel really disconnected from my purpose when I tried that. So right now, I'm keeping it open to whatever person ends up coming in that resonates. Most of the time, though, I have found, because I'm a mom, I do end up resonating more with parents, both moms and dads. When I ran my beta, my favorite client that I really like took on in this business first, they kind of helped me fine tune what it was going to be. She joined it, the beta, in September, and she goes, you know, it's kind of funny. I thought mostly women would join, but actually, you have like 78% men.
Oh wow.
And so that was, you know, very interesting to see how I was relating to different people when I just simply opened to whoever wanted to join. And I just simply said I'm running something.
Mm-hmm.
And if you registered, you registered, and I didn't matter. Right now, I'm finding that most of them are businesses, like business owners, entrepreneurs, because that's been what I've done my entire adult life, is as an entrepreneur. And so that's kind of the direction that I'm seeing right now. And I'm in a transitional phase a little bit, like nobody knows this yet. So you and everybody else are hearing it for the first time, where I really want to structure it to allow people to be more intentional and keep it very simple. Like you said, most of the time we're like, I gotta do 20 things, and then we don't do any of those things well. And so in my community, I found that I was also trying to make it too complicated, and it felt noisy and like there was chaos, and so people started falling off and focusing on other things, but they're still struggling the same. So right now, my business has been on school, and I'm playing with moving it to Circle because I can give them specific places, and where they want to focus, that's the only place you need to show up.
Gotcha.
It's not like a feed, it's not a Facebook group, it's not noise, but I want it to be community centered so that we can grow and learn and thrive together. But if you're in a season where you're really, really heavily focusing on spiritual things and you only want a little bit of nutrition,
Yeah.
then you should be in a group of people who are focusing heavily on spiritual. But if you're like, I'm really not even drinking any water, I'm certainly not eating healthy, and I feel pretty good in my relationship with the Lord, then let's focus really heavily on how do we get you hydrated and build that habit. So I can segment people into where they need to be and give them the focus and attention they need without any other distractions until they feel solid in that area.
So Circle gets allows you to do more segmenting and stuff than school does.
Yeah, it does. And I'm in a group that I've been in for 2 years, might be 3. I'm gonna have to check. It's 2 or 3 years. And they run their business on Circle. And there's pod groups where we come in and we focus on a maintenance priority that month, or we focus on a growth priority that month. And then we have 2 or 3 accountability partners. And when you log in, you can see on the side, whether you're on the app or on the mobile or on the browser, on your computer, you can see exactly which part of the community you want to spend your time in. And it's just right here. So there's not a classroom. If you're not familiar with school, school is like a big Facebook group feed, and then you have a classroom. Mm-hmm. And there's purpose for certain types of businesses for that.
Yeah.
But if there's a classroom that you want them to focus on in that area, it gets lost inside the feed. And they don't know where they're supposed to be.
Right.
And it made it messy for me trying to guide people in there. And so I spent probably the last 4 months really just tugging at whether I wanted to move or not. So I haven't made the switch fully yet. I'm still setting up Circle before I open it to people. But I really like just how simplified it is. And they're not getting lost somewhere else. They're only where they need to be. So hopefully that makes sense. I know it's kind of hard to picture if you're not seeing it, but that's where it's going.
Totally get that. That makes a lot of sense. I know I use school too, so sometimes it's sort of like, how are they going to find the thing I want them to find? Because things do get a little bit buried every now and then. So it's definitely an easy thing to happen. Let's go, like, I'm curious about something. Like, how did you get started in the coaching space?
Yeah, that's a great question. I actually, throughout my 20s, I did a lot of network marketing, and I did mostly wellness companies.
Yeah.
So growing up, I grew up in a family where I'm the second oldest of 9, and we were raised on junk food. Like, that's just the way it was. I didn't know there was a super specific way of eating healthy and fueling your body. Like quick, easy meals, microwave, boil it with some hot water in the microwave, TV dinners, stuff like that. And I had a lot of health problems. Even though I was very active, I did dance, I did drill team, I was in performing arts, all kinds of stuff, performed at an international level at one point when I was 16. And by the time I started, getting married and having kids, I actually had a doctor who told me, you probably will be in a wheelchair by the time you're 30. Like, your body's going to give out on you. And I did not like the way that sat with me. So when I was introduced to a wellness company selling supplements at 20, I thought, oh my goodness, there are healthy people. What is this? And I loved the personal development side of it and learning how the body works. And so I tried Facebook pages about Fit and Fab with Sam and other catchy things that I thought were awesome. And then when I had my third, I thought, you need a degree if you're ever going to go anywhere with this. And so I stopped doing direct selling and I went to school. And while I was in school, I missed the growth and just how much activity there is in running your own business and doing your own thing and going to leadership trainings and connecting with people. And so I got into personal and family finance because you could build your own team there. And they're very heavy on personal development and growth and how to run a business properly and manage your finances well and do things differently. And so I did that for about 7 years. And after my fourth was born, we'd moved across the country for a job with my husband at the time. And I just through COVID, I got really depressed, super isolated. I had gained 65 pounds. I was the heaviest I'd ever been. I was miserable. I was not happy. And it got to the point where I didn't want to invite anybody over to my house. I didn't want to go to trainings in person. If I could live online and only show them what the camera could see, I thought that was peak state.
Wow.
Until I got reintroduced to somebody who lived locally to me, she was in her early 60s, super healthy, thriving. She talked about eating plant-based, how your body literally regenerates its cells based on what you eat. And I thought, I want to learn that. And so I actually ended up, through a series of events, coming across a certified high performance coach with Brendan Burchard at one of his summits. And through a series of questions that he asked me over 6 months, I realized that I wasn't just externally overweight, I was really, really heavy on the inside emotionally. I was disconnected from everything. I didn't know who I was basically hiding behind a lens. And I stopped running my business. I quit recruiting people. I didn't take on clients for finances anymore. And I lost 65 pounds. I separated from my husband. And somebody said, you could really do this as a business. You could help people. People want what you have to offer. Your story matters. And so then I started doing trainings for how to run your own business. Learned about 5-day challenges, got introduced to Doug Boughton. And started going to live in-person events again. And I was like, this is actually really, really cool. And started just simply sharing my story. And then with Doug, I learned how to take on a couple of clients, hired a coach specifically in the fitness space. And it's just been kind of like catalyzing ever since then. And where this is like the thing that I think that I'm meant to do with my life is serve people and help them learn to love themselves, not from the outside in, but from the inside out.
Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. So when you're in that process, you're transitioning from like the MLM space going into your own coaching business. Was there ever a point where you kind of maybe had like a hesitation, like almost a little bit of imposter syndrome or anything like that, or did you just like jump right into it, like I found my place, this is for me?
I feel like honestly, 3 years now, 2026. I started in 2022. I didn't run anything. 2023 is when I really like met Doug and started wanting to do my own thing. Ignorance is bliss, and I was just ignorantly on fire, and I did not know what I was doing, and I was just insanely excited. Like, light the forest on fire and people will come watch to see what's happening. I was just doing that. And honestly, imposter syndrome probably happens more for me now than it did when I started because I'm more aware. And
Okay.
I have more information, so then I feel like I need to do it a certain way to do it right.
Oh, gotcha. So, that's like a great way to start, though. Like, I wish that more people like in that spot were like, "Yay, let's just like go do this." So now, whenever you're in a situation where imposter syndrome and stuff pops in, like, what do you do? How do you manage that, or you just kind of say, "Go away, I don't need to worry about you."
It's something I'm actually working through right now. So you've been in Doug's community long enough to know that last year we went through a lot of crazy stuff. Moved into a house that had extensive mold. Remediation caused us to have to immediately move out. We thought we were going back, didn't, lost everything we owned. And that really kind of rocked me in a crazy way that, I probably needed to give me more awareness and growth.
Yeah.
And so I'm still working through it. I also had several fractures like 10 months ago. And through that, plus dealing with mold and high stress environments, finding a new house with 4 kids, we also just last month went from homeschooling to private school, which was a big transition as well. I gained probably like 10 to 15 pounds, and immediately everything inside of me reverted back to a previous version going, you are unqualified. You should not be running a business telling people how to get healthy. Like, there's no way. And so last month I just, for the first time probably ever in my life, and I'm turning 35 this year. I know some people are like, don't talk about your age, but I don't feel like I'm that old, so I don't care. Also, don't feel like I have anything to hide. Like, everybody gets older, right?
Yeah. Right.
And so I just became insanely unmotivated. Like last month, I just didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to show up to trainings. I was still investing in my coaching. Just kind of paused. Didn't take on clients. This week, I decided I was getting back into it. I feel ready. Went back to my 3 a day the simple way. Increased my protein again. Started buying more foods that I know make me thrive. Refill my water bottle every day. Make sure that I'm doing that. And started a Old Testament reading because in my church we're studying the Old Testament. I've never actually read every single verse. And so every day I have a set number of scriptures to read, number of chapters to get through it by the end of the year. And I'm just really letting myself be open. Like I'm not going to put it out there too much, but I just started like an anonymous type of YouTube page where I'm just posting every day a video of me just like jabbering on endlessly for 20 minutes or so to find my voice again in this new season and just see what happens.
Well, to me, that seems like you're right on the brink of like the next level. Then, like, isn't that usually how it goes? Is like you're at one point and you hit a thing that breaks you, and the thing that breaks you at that point is what takes you to the next level. It's you never reach that point where it just life stops kicking you. It's like life kicks you harder, and you learn to kick back harder.
Yeah, that's what they say, right?
That's what they say. It doesn't feel good ever, but that's what they say. So, what was your experience like then reconnecting back to your 3-day the healthy way? So you kind of like strayed, like seems like you strayed a little bit. And kind of felt like you lost yourself and you're coming back. Like, what is your experience coming back and reconnecting to your own like framework, your own method?
Um, that's a great question. I don't know that I've thought about it at all.
Okay.
Reflecting on it, I knew it was there, but I just didn't care, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Like I wasn't, depressed. I just felt kind of lost and like I said, unmotivated. And so I actually went back to the community that I have on Circle that I've been in for a couple years. And my intention this month was just I need to find a baseline again. I need to figure out where my lowest level, my minimum viable standard is.
Yeah.
And then they play this thing called win the day or crush the day. Win the day is where you hit your minimum viable standard for whatever you decide that is, and you track it every day.
Okay.
And crush the day means like you played a level up.
Mm.
And you like knocked it out of the park. And so I went through with them and we just track it on a scorecard, on a Google sheet. So it's really simple and not complicated. There's no fancy app or anything. And I just set like categories, like with my kids, with myself in different categories, like my business standards, my health standards, my nutrition standards, my spiritual standards. And 50% is like I showed up today in these areas. I did something. And 100% is like I went above and beyond. I did 20 minutes instead of 5 minutes on a task. And that made me realize when I knew that I needed it, because I think sometimes when we've had enough training, when we fall off, the thing about training really, really hard and then falling off for a season is you have something to come back to, which is why it's so important to make sure that we're always keeping a toe in the game, like never fully fall off the path. And but we do need to reset, like you said. Sometimes in order to reach a new level, we have to be knocked down a little bit. You got to lose to know how it feels to win. And so coming back to it, like I'm actually going to put out on my social media. I filmed a video right before we hopped on, and I was like, I've bought makeup and I got a curling iron, and I haven't done that since we moved out. And I decided I'm going to take care of me because I deserve it. And really just giving people encouragement and permission to do the same. Because Brendan Burchard, I love him so much. He lives off of like, feel the day, bring the joy. And sometimes it pops into my head like, you need to feel the day. You need to bring the joy. Yeah. And 3 a day for me was reminding myself how to feel again. Like, feel alive, feel vibrant. I shared in my pod group yesterday that I think because I grew up in a very, very highly dysfunctional home, and throughout I carried that into my adulthood, which is like a whole nother conversation in and of itself. But I learned how to thrive in chaos. Okay. And now, like, my kids are happy in school. I'm not juggling them all day long trying to run a business and homeschool at the same time. There's nothing wrong with our house. All of our needs are met. And it was like my central nervous system freaked out because it didn't know how to thrive in stability. It only knew how to thrive in chaos. And there was no chaos. And so 3 a day, the simple way was, okay, we're going to retrain ourselves on how to get back to the baseline, put in place those minimum standards, and then we'll figure out the next piece and let other things come together.
I love it. I definitely get the idea of thriving in chaos. I feel that too. So you're not alone there. There's something about I think chaos becomes comfortable if you live in it long enough. It's hard to thrive outside of anything like that, or even to learn to thrive. Sometimes if like all you've ever done is survive, it's like, what does thriving even mean?
Yeah, we say it and we say we want it, and that's why we run a business to get there. But as soon as we hit it, we go, holy cow, I don't like that actually. That's very unsettling.
Right. This feels different than what I'm used to.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Well, cool. Well, I really appreciate being on here and sharing your story with us. Where can people find you at?
Right now, I'm going to keep it on school until I'm ready to transition. So if they go to hangoutwithsam.com, that should reroute you to my Faith-Fueled Freedom community. And so we're starting that back up again, and we'll live inside of there until I'm ready to move. And for now, it's just hanging out together and having conversations and just learning about life and ourselves and our faith and having a good time.
Awesome. I love it. So hangoutwithsam.com. And are there any last things you want to share before you hop off?
Well, the one thing I will share is what was said to me yesterday. I said when I was struggling that I help people lose weight, and someone in my pod reframed it for me, so I want to reframe it for people before we go. And that's when we lose something, we tend to go looking for it. So if we lose weight, that's why we gain it back. If we lose our faith, well, we can go find it because we're going to search for it. And he reframed it, and he learned this from somebody else, but I don't remember who he said he got it from. But instead of losing something, we want to release it. And so part of coming back to 3 a day is I'm releasing the things that I don't want to move forward into this new season. Releasing weight, releasing self-doubt, releasing that imposter syndrome. Usually that just means that we haven't gotten enough information to feel confident, or we haven't put the reps in yet to feel confident. And so whatever you think you need to let go of, let's work on releasing it instead this year.
Awesome. I love it. I think it's a great note to end on. Perfect. Thank you so much, Sam. It was great to have you on here.
Yeah, thank you, Clayton. This has been great.